What is creativity to you?
Creativity.
I still don't know.
Not lah.
No idea.
No idea.
No idea.
No idea.
Petaling Jaya, better known as PJ, is one of Selangor's earliest developed townships, surrounded by the Malaysian capital, Kuala Lumpur to the east, the Gombak district to the north, the capital of Selangor, Shah Alam to the west, and Subang Jaya to the south. PJ was naturally a strategic township that is enjoyed by both the locals and visitors. Taking a trip down memory lane, PJ was initially made up of PJ South, from Section 8 to PJ Old Town, which were established around 1953. As Malaysia soon gained independence and started developing, the government initiated the New Town Development Projects as an initiative to improve unfriendly urban and dwelling environments. The British urban development system and legislation was adopted into PJ, and PJ then became the first new town in Malaysia that was designed in accordance with the British town planning principles, which were based on the model of a modern-day ideal city. Being such a valuable and desired location, it is hard to believe that an approximate of 100 meters by 60 meters land was left empty. To fully utilize the site to its fullest potential, necessary site info and data were collected and being analyzed. Sunpath was being studied as light and shadow play a huge role in building design orientation. To further understand the site's potential, wind direction and intensity was also studied to aid passive design strategy. Besides, the landscape itself is especially interesting as it generally has three major contour layers and possesses numerous lush and mature trees. The following trees are as follows. According to UBBL, the building that is being built on site must comply with a 6-meter setback on all sides. On top of that, the height of the building is also restricted to a limitation of 5 stories. Around the site, renowned landmarks such as Asunta Hospital, Rakan Muda Complex, MBPJ Tower, UITM, Masjid Jamek, Wisma Pekeso, SMK Asunta and PKNS Tower are easily identified. Alongside these major landmarks, numerous of elderly centres, schools, churches, temples and also a community library is found. All these establishments has brought about many perks and opportunities for the locals and also livened up the township as a whole. Also, based on the figure ground diagram, we can see that there are various voids in the area. Most buildings have extra land around them and can be considered a fairly spacious and comfortable township to live in as compared to busy urban cities like those in KL. With all these facilities and attractions, it has definitely contributed to the traffic and affected the circulation of the area. The main circulation are primarily taken up by motorists who are either coming from the Federal Highway or the New Pantai Expressway, in which both are leading towards the city centre, Kuala Lumpur. Secondary circulation, on the other hand, is taken up mostly by the residents themselves, as schools, mosques, churches and temples are present. As come to expect it, the traffic in the area isn't ideal and frequently complained by the residents of PJ. At peak hours, 7:30 to 9:30 am and 5:30 to 7:30 pm, the traffic is often slow moving and sometimes even at a standstill. On the contrary, the human circulation in the area can be taken as favourable as proper walkways are available and landscape are well taken care of. Residents do not mind using the walkways and are also not afraid to fully utilise the inner roads which forms the secondary circulation. The area can be said as a relatively safe neighbourhood as crime rates are moderate as told by the residents. In fact, the danger doesn't come from the crime rate but the lack of infrastructure. Highlighted in the danger zone where pedestrians jaywalk their way through the busy main streets and roundabout. Besides that, there are also several transportation options that are available on site. Taman Jaya LRT station can be found along the Federal Highway, whereas 2 more KTM stations can be found along the NPE Highway, which are Kampung Datuk Harun Station and Jalan Temple Station, MBPJ has also taken an extra step in providing free community bus to better the existing public transportation services. With that said, an analysis on the landmarks and human circulation, the nodes are identified, edges are formed, and districts are marked. Combining all these that have been gathered, a heat map of human saturation is created. The human density is marked based on the stated timing. Besides being strategically placed, the site is blessed with a diverse community, expressive lifestyle, and eventful activities, which is feeding the creative scene in Petaling, Jaya. To further understand the community, a round of survey was conducted. A total of 100 questionnaires were distributed to the people of PJ. The answers from the questionnaires were later being collected and graphed into charts to be compared with charts by MBPJ, in which was based on the entire PJ population. Participants of the survey were mainly made out of adolescents and followed by young adults, as they were partly our target audience. In terms of occupation, it has come to be expected that it is dominantly taken up by students, followed by working individuals. Besides that, since the majority of audiences are adolescents and young adults, their opinion towards what creativity is to them is of utmost importance to our study. It appears that both adolescents and young adults appeal to arts and craft as their source of creativity. Lastly, based on age category, participants were asked if the implementation of a creativity center was a good choice for the community of PJ. A majority of them responded favorably, with just a minor few turning down the idea. With that said, several creative activities are found around the area, starting with one of the major landmarks identified earlier. The Rakan Muda complex provides all sorts of sporting facilities ranging from casual sports like basketball and futsal to extreme sports like BMX and rock climbing. Besides the various sporting events, Rakan Muda also supports creative activities like traditional dances, contemporary dances, music performances, and also creative sporting performances. Being a healthy society, the community also loves to cycle around the neighborhood. Furthermore, street art is among one of the activities found in PJ. Being a community that is expressive and dares to speak out for their passion and talent, the community is not afraid to take their talents to the streets with approved graffiti, display of traditional handcrafts, and also street-side performances, which normally happen near the MBPJ Tower due to the nearby design colleges like Saito College and UITM. With the operation of numerous schools in the area, it has become one of the main sources into nurturing the youth's interest and talent. These existing schools, particularly SMK Asunta, to provide classes and after-class curriculum such as stage drama, musical bands, handcrafts, and art lessons. On top of that, schools are also starting to promote creative art that are digital-based. For instance, filmmaking, digital illustrations, and also music composing. The library is also one of the hotspots within the area. Community of all ages are welcome to carry out a variety of activities there. Retired elderly are often there for the rich reading material, and the younger ones can fully utilize the library's multimedia facilities for school projects or for self-interest in digital content creating. In general, PJ Town is blessed with a wide range of creative talents, just yet to be discovered by the public. These creative activities can be listed as arts and craft, performing arts, and lastly, digital arts. On the flip side, these existing creative activities do come along with certain issues. As lively and active as the community is, some of them go elsewhere to exercise, as facilities provided in Rakan Muda is not well maintained, especially the rock climbing facility. Bicycle paths are absent as well, making the safety of cycling around the neighborhood risky and dangerous. Besides that, the street performing arts scene was sometimes taken for granted as well. Illegal graffiti can be found in quiet parts of the area, and street performers are not exposed to the right audience since the street was not a dedicated performing area. In terms of the rich variety of art forms carried out in the schools fail to provide the much needed audience for wider exposure, as the school seldom brings students out for competitions or invite visitors in to enjoy the performances. Last but not least, the digital art scene in the area is still not mature, thus exposure and guidance is very important. The current technology equipped in schools and libraries are dated and in need of an upgrade to stay competent and relevant for today's media use. In the efforts of solving some of the issues stated, MBPJ has kick-started the bicycle lane project and also the one-way loop system for the main circulation PJ. But unfortunately, these efforts are only solving the road safety issue and the dreadful traffic in PJ. Here we try to look at some foreign precedent studies to learn how we can attempt to solve the remaining unresolved issues found on the site. Firstly, the Merida Youth Factory was designed as a large canopy to protect users from rain and sun while they participate in activities below. Based on the supporting studies, this building is an approximate of 5 meters tall, a single story, and 3,090 square meters wide. Referring back to our given site in Petaling, Jaya, the preferences do meet the building height requirements and it covers our 5,500 square meters of the site area. As an enhancement of our given site, this building attracts people of all ages and serves a variety of facilities for the users. To conclude, the main advantages of this case study is that the shelter system is suitable for our site's climate, which in turn minimizes the usage of air conditioning and managed to serve a variety of use facilities in a safe environment. As for disadvantages, it is quite small for our site and doesn't emphasize on landscaping and greeneries. Secondly, the Western Family Learning Center offers a full roster of programs for all ages. The supporting studies show that the building is a good example that fits nicely into our site in Petaling, Jaya. In addition, the Western Family Learning Center can be considered as vernacular architecture as the construction materials are locally found, such as Algonquin limestone, oak, coloured concrete, glass and bronze. Nevertheless, the main spaces inside the building are the proposed solution to the highlight of catered for all communities. There are performing arts spaces which allow users to perform and use the center hall for any type of performance. Next, the interaction between the audience and the users are visible in arts and crafts space as the visitors are allowed to view activities from the audience deck. Same goes to seminar room as the space is cantilevered, finished in concrete with glass panels to look down onto the studio, further exemplifying the transparency between spaces. Finally, 5 Points Aerosol Art Center is a living proof of legitimate street art in New York. This building was a living collage or graffiti art covering a converted warehouse full of art studios. The place is fully capable to accommodate for expressive street arts and artist's house. It also targets more towards young artists to express their creativity and continue the legacy inside. Last but not least, the advantages are the presence of a dedicated space and legalized street art activity. This building also provides the opportunity of recycling and reusing to produce more creativity ideas and content. As for the disadvantages, social issues may happen and might be uncontrollable since full creative freedom is granted to the youth. It may also be a bit unpleasant to certain users with different art preferences and perspectives. Based on all that we have gathered this far, from the general collected data to the in-depth community interest analysis and also selected case studies, we can safely assume that these are the programs and activities that are more suitable for the site and stand a higher possibility in benefiting and bettering the lives of PJ residents. All in all, we believe that no one should be limited to what a creativity center really should be. Activity suggestions act only as a guidance. Likewise, how we are trying to suggest ways to nurture the potential young creative talents in PJ, our final verdict will still be based on our very own perception of creativity, and that's where the real magic happens.
Magic!
I can show you the world, shining, shimmering, splendid. Tell me, princess, now when did you last let your heart decide?